Hey everybody, Corey Schrader, Black Creek Wealth Management. Hope you all are doing well. Today we're going to be focusing on the Young Investors Club. I'm super excited about this as this is my free uh, financial and investment and trading literacy program that I'm providing for kids really from 13 to 18. I've gone ahead and partnered with the Clay County Library. So super excited. Today we're going to be talking about why to invest or why should you invest and why it's so important. So I'm going to run through a couple of slides today. Shouldn't take us too long. Usually the conversations take about an hour. And again, they're conversations. I'm not here to run you through an actual overall program. If anything, I'm trying, in a sense, to really try to microwave some experience for these young kids so that way when they do get to high school or even when they get to college, they know things in savings, debt management, investing, financial literacy topics. So that way, no one can really take advantage of them. So, welcome to the Young Investors Club. Let me go ahead and get started here. And let's go ahead and talk about why you should actually invest. So, let me go ahead and jump on this here. Alrighty. So, first off, what is investing? Well, to put it simply, investing is a good way to leave some money on the table to essentially take that and let it grow without you having to really do anything. And I say that loosely because you do have to do some work up front, some research and some analysis, and you need to look at things. You know, what what kind of return, what kind of growth do I want on my actual money? If I'm not going to spend it and I want to give it away or let it just sit there, I want it to at least earn something. Okay. So investing is that in and of itself. Okay. Where you basically reduce or delay what we call consumption meaning spending money, and delaying that into the future. So you're not going to spend it today because you want to save that money and let it grow. So in the future, you can take from it. Here's one of the biggest examples that I love to use on this, right? So I was working with a kid actually for this specific event or conversation, and she just looked at me sideways. She's like, I just don't understand what investing is. And I said to her, I was like, well, do you like to garden? She goes, yeah, I'd love to garden. I'm like, well, what do you grow? Do you like tomatoes? Do you like green beans, peas? Like, what is it that you love to grow? And she's like, well, I like peaches. Okay. So let me ask you a question. When you eat a peach, do you eat all of it? She said, yes. I said, you sure about that? Do you eat all of it? No, you don't. You do not eat the pit, right? And what is the pit? The pit is the seed. Can almost call the money that you bring in seed money. And that is how we look at it. So if we have the seed, the peach pit, right? Figure that's the same thing as in the slide as committing money, right? We're not going to eat the seed right now because really we know in the future we want to eat more peaches. So we need to commit some time to it. It's not going to just grow overnight. It's going to take a little while. And it's going to take a little bit of energy. And energy, what does that mean? Well, is it our research to better understand what kind of soil it likes, what kind of sun does it need, what kind of water does it need, so we put it in the right place to give it the best environment to grow it the best way we can, because investing is for that future benefit. So that's the way I like to look at this is at the end of the day, you're not eating everything today, and you're going to save some of it. You're going to commit some time and some energy to putting it in the best environment you can to get that future benefit. So that's the way I look at just investing in general. Now, why should you invest? Well, there's a couple of things that I love to just help people understand. And compounding, often you can go online and you can look this up. It's known as the fifth wonder of the world. And ultimately, all it means is when you compound your money, and we'll use this chart or this graph here as an example, right? So you have $1,000. Okay, I broke it down. Let's say you have $100, but we'll use $1,000 here. Okay, let's say it grows 10%. Okay, what's 10% on 1,000? It's $100. Okay, well, if you look at the chart here, After 5 years, the portfolio value is 1,611. That doesn't make sense. I don't get it, Corey. Well, here's why. Because let's say you grow your money at 10%. Okay. So, like I told you before, and you, of course, use a calculator, $1,000 times 0.10. You got $100. So let's go ahead and add that to the 1,000, right? Well, now it's going to grow at another 10%. So what's times 0.10? Wait a second. Instead of making $100, now I've made $10 on that. Well, let's go ahead and add it to it, right? So I had 1,000. Now I have 2,110. Excuse me, I have 1,002. Let's do that. So 2,000, 1,210. Okay. So essentially what's happening is now we do another 10%. Well, now it's 121. So it went from 100 to 110 to 120 to 121. It's compounding on top of itself. And another way that you can look at this is basically do this to the fifth power. I didn't take it. 1.10 x to the y, 5 years. So you're going to grow it basically at that times 1,000. And you have 1610 and 51 cents, which is 1611. So the key thing here is it's almost like a snowball. Once you get the snowball rolling downhill, I mean, we've all seen Looney Tunes. We've seen what happens. Snowball grows, and just keeps on compounding on top of itself. Well, take that same 1,000, even if you were to put away $1,000 today, at 50 years, again, if these kids are, let's just say you kids are 13 years old, you put $1,000 away at zero, grow it at 10%. Over that time period, you're looking at $117,000 just on that $1,000. So you're basically creating options. And this is what I'm huge about when it comes to investing, trading, and doing this, because you don't want to have to work for things that you don't want to do, right? How many times do parents ask their kids, hey, go ahead and go outside and I'm going to pay you to go ahead and rake the leaves, and I'm going to give you $2 an hour or $5 an hour to do that. Well, some kids love it. My kids hate it. They don't really want to do the manual labor. Now, they will do it if it's the right amount of money, and that's a whole nother conversation. But when you look at that, you can help your situation by saying, hey, you know what? If I put a little bit of that allowance away today, by the time I'm 20 years old, 7 years, it's been growing. Okay, now I have options. Now I can really look at jobs and things that I want to do, not necessarily because I have to, but because I really want to and I enjoy it. So again, investing and trading allows you to create options for yourself. And that's really what I've been able to do just over my career. So that's why I want to make sure people know about this. So here's the other part that I love. Why should I invest? Well, time is your friend, folks. There's an actual fun, and again, this is for math, and I actually love math. So it's always the question, and I had a bunch of kids ask me this, okay, well, how long does it take to double my money? Because that's what we all care about, right? And then you have the benefit of compounding on top of that. So let's say you get $1,000 and you double it in a year. Well, how much did I have to earn that year? What was the rate of return on my money that I had to make in order to double my money in a year? Well, here's the fun part. It would be 72. So, because if it took 1 year, you'd need a 72% interest rate. Well, here's the thing. You average a 12% return over 6 years, you're basically going to double your money. So I asked the kids, I'm like, hey, if you get 10% return, how many years will it take to double? About 7.2 years, or basically 7 years and 1 quarter, or 3 months, right? So 7 years, 3 months. So this is the beauty of, hey, I want to go ahead and leave an inheritance behind or something for my kids. Well, you could break away some of that money today at a much lesser value to be able to compound it because you have time on your side, because time is your friend here. So let's say you're my age and you have, let's just, God hoping I have another 40 years. How long will it take to double that money? Well, you break away a good size amount of, your inheritance or things you want to leave behind, or maybe you want to leave a legacy. you can break off some of that money and use time as your benefit. And again, you don't have to put in a large amount of money today. So, one of the things I love to share with people. Now, how do we get started, right? You're talking about investing. What do I do? How do I do this? Well, here's the fun part. There's a ton of ways to invest. Many of us, myself included, as I was growing up, baseball cards, right? Go look up in a Beckett, and it was funny because I brought this up, and one of the kids in the class said, I have these cards. I want to know how much they're worth and all this. I'm like, well, pull up a Beckett and see how much it is. And he looked at me and he's like, what's a Beckett? So a Beckett being a baseball card, basically it tells you how much your baseball cards are worth. And it used to be able to get them back in the 90s where you could see how much your baseball cards were worth because you get the Topps playing cards. Well, now they have Pokemon cards and all these other things. Well, some of those cards are worth some money. You'll see here silver. You'll see REITs, real estate investment trusts. That's pooling of real estate. One of the things I love at this is your own business, right? You can invest in yourself. And that was a pretty good topic. It's one of the things that I'm doing with my own firm is I'm investing and any money that I make from my firm, I'm investing that extra into the firm to help grow and help more people. Peer-to-peer lending. Hey, what if your friends need money and you have the money and they don't? You can actually charge them an interest rate to lend them money. My son loves this idea. He's like, my friends are broke. I'm like, you're in middle school. You shouldn't have money anyway. Forex, that just means trading currency pairs. So Japanese yen and dollars and different things. And that's a whole nother world in and to of itself. Highly, highly volatile, meaning it moves very, very much. Startup investing. Hey, I want to give money to someone who wants to start a business. Well, there's people that do that and they charge a very high interest rate to lend that money because it's very risky. Your education, that's what you're doing here today, is you're learning about why should you invest. You know, investing, everyone loses money in the stock market. Sorry, that's not true. I want to make sure you're aware of this. So that's number one of your education. I've basically been able to build a firm through helping people invest better and trade better. So your education is huge here. Your health, you got to take care of yourself. At the end of the day, I'm not here to preach, but go to the gym, eat better. Don't be eating, double cheese quarter pounders like I used to when I was in high school. Unless you want to, bulk up, but it's probably not the best way to do it. So that's some of the things that you can jump into. But of course, you've heard of crypto. We're going to talk about a lot of this stuff as we go along through this actual conversation. So what should you consider before you invest? Well, here's the biggest thing is you got to know these things before you jump in, because I'm not going to make this any clearer than this. You're playing with the big boys. The big boys will come and take your lunch money and then laugh about it. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you're playing against people who do. I've spent 15 to 18 years learning, getting 3 designations, learning how the other person at the end of the table is looking at their cards, how I'm looking at my cards, and I'm playing the men. So if you've played World Series of Poker, this is very similar to that. There's some things I can't control, and of course you need to know that, but that's all part of experience, and that's all part of knowing the game. If you want to beat everyone at Monopoly, you better know the rules, and that's what you're here, investing your education with me to help you with that. So risk tolerance. Hey, you got to know what you can stomach. If you get into penny stocks, know you could lose all your money within a day, okay? Now you get into something like a Walmart or a Target, you got to know it's not going to grow to the moon like a Tesla would, right? You got to know where your stomach lies, because if you're going to put in $100 or $200 or $300 and it goes up $50, you're going to be super excited. But if it goes from 100 to 50, you're going to be sick because you haven't experienced it and you don't know what to expect, what the future is going to hold. And honestly, with the stock market, you really don't know. You can have a problem. It's called probabilistic estimations, and that's what I look at. Is what probability will the market go up? Will it go down? Will it go to zero? It's possible, but the probability is virtually zero. So knowing these things helps you be a better investor and trader. Now, budget. Okay, hey Corey, I just got a huge bonus. I got $5,000. I want to go ahead and put it all into Tesla, or I want to put it all into Bitcoin. Okay, well, let me ask you this. Did you pay all your bills at home first? Are you playing with house money? Did you put it into savings? Have you grown your savings? Or are you using house money to hope and wish that you're going to get out of debt because you're putting all this bonus forward? You got to know and you got to budget your money properly, okay? Financial knowledge. Again, you don't just jump into buying and selling options on stocks or on bonds. That's something that I've spent over 10 years of experience learning and navigating that market so I can do it, so I know what to expect and how to go around it. So if you jump into something like a Tesla, or you didn't know that they were going to have a huge issue with China and now it's dropped 20%, so your $100 is now worth $80, and you just blindly went into it without doing your research, you could have known that and you could have avoided that 20%. Okay. Time horizon, huge thing to know about. If you're 13, you have no bills, your parents pay for everything and everything's gravy, and you get upset when you lose video game time, you got plenty of time. So if you're putting your money away and the market drops, who cares? You're not spending the money, you're not using it. But if you're about to retire or you are in retirement and now you're invested in those high flyers like Bitcoin and Tesla and all these things in incorrect proportions, you can drastically impact your ability to withdraw money from your accounts. And that is a big deal because you've spent this much time building it. Now you want to start using it to live on. And now you've done the wrong thing with it. And now you don't have as much to pull from. So time horizon is huge. And then, of course, liquidity. That goes back to the budgeting. If you don't have the money to invest, take care of the house first. Take care of your house. Take care of your budget, your immediate essential expenses. Take care of that first. And then when you know you're about to need the money, give yourself plenty of time so that way you know that if the market drops, you're not losing out on that money that you were counting on, okay? So when it comes to the Young Investing Club, these are the areas that I am talking to these kids about: budgeting, saving, investing, credit management, and financial planning. I'm also covering all of this under New Investment Club, which is right after Young Investment Club, which I would highly encourage adults to jump into. Now, this has been a struggle to try to get people to this because your time is valuable. And you're like, well, I can just go on YouTube and do these types of things. Well, you can go on YouTube and spend a couple hours learning how to do all this stuff, or you can sit down with me and ask me any question you want, and I'll give you practical experience, give you the knowledge behind it, microwave that experience. I mean, I've managed for over $250 million for 250 clients for a number of years through COVID. I'm currently managing quite a bit of money myself through my own personal firm, through my private investment management. These are things that I'm giving you the opportunity to come. There is no cost except that of your time to come learn these topics and just make sure that you're getting the most you can out of the money that you're working so hard for. So these are the topic areas I really, really want you to look into. So what do you do next? What's next from here? Well, our next meeting was on stocks and budgeting. And now I'm going to be talking about how to actually invest in stocks. What are stocks? What are the different types of stocks? So that's my next meeting. Super excited to be putting it out in front of kids, and they're super excited to learn about it. So hope this was helpful. As you have questions, of course, comment, like, share, get this out there, subscribe to my page. I want to make sure you get all of this up front. But have a blessed day. Thanks again. Corey Schrader, Black Creek Wealth. Take care.